Podcast, PartsCountyGuru.com. How's it going? We finally made it.
Hey, Jay.
Made it to the show.
Am I here?
You are here.
Are we on?
We are on.
So this may end up being a long video with no audio. We'll find out later, but welcome in, everybody. It's good to be here. You want to kind of explain where we are?
Yeah, we're sitting here at the Union Tavern down in lovely Anacortes. Nice little island community here.
Anacortes, Delaware? Where are we?
That's it. Delaware. Yeah. Find us on the map.
In Washington, right?
Yeah, that's us. Yeah.
The state, not the district.
The state of Washington, not the district. Yeah. There are no candidates here. Yeah. So, but yeah, we're real happy to be here. We're at the Union Tavern, located on Commercial Avenue, 902 Commercial Avenue here in Anacortes, Washington, and our good friend Joe, owner, proprietor, allowed us to do this today, and we're very much appreciative. We're about 2 beers in, feeling all right. People are eating. Some great smells coming out of that kitchen over there.
Where is Joe? I don't see him.
Joe's right here. He's on.
Hey, Joe, is it okay if we tell people that you're the owner? Oh, here, let's get your face on camera. Too late now. We'll fix it in post, man. Nothing to worry about.
Yeah, nothing to worry about. So you had a heck of a trip out here, didn't you?
Yeah. Well, define hecka. Like, it was longish, but we did it in an RV, and it was, the typical RV.
When you have 40 feet, what else do you do? You stop, you go, you stop, you go, you sleep, you play. Yeah.
Sometimes you unhook.
Mm-hmm. That's it.
We went through the flooding in the Midwest,
right?
Iowa, Nebraska, western Missouri. Went into South Dakota, which still has a little bit of flooding.
Really?
Went to the Badlands, yep. All the river delta stuff, Mississippi, Missouri. Went to Glacier National Park. Did not get eaten by any bears, so that was good.
Did you have some bear repellent?
No.
Well, we saw the cans in Costco the other day, man.
Just make lots of noise, and you'll be okay.
Yeah.
So, so saw some bear tracks, and that brought us here.
It is. You had a skunk on the roof.
Yeah. We saw quite a few of. Had something up there.
Right on.
Raccoon, skunk, whatever.
Well, look, guys. So here's the deal. We're doing this live. We're experimenting with some new software to do this. We may have some glitches. We may not have any glitches. Regardless, we're going to go on with the show. We're going to talk about some news topics. There's going to be some activities to potentially win some prizes for you guys online, but some folks in here are going to win some things too, we hope. So we'll see what happens. So, but yeah. So what do we want to get rolling on?
We can talk about some news. We got a lot to talk about.
We do, man. I mean, this thing could go really, really long. But
you may have to cut me off at some point.
Oh, no, we're not going to do that.
So we wanted to do something sort of unique for our 25th podcast. By the way, happy anniversary!
Oh, happy anniversary! Here, cheers, man. Yeah.
What are you drinking?
Well, I actually have. This is a pale ale now. It's an IPA. Pale ale. What's the brewer? Aslan. Oh, that's up in Bellingham.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a good one. Oh, that's a great beer. I've had that in the brewery before, I believe, but it's a great tasting beer. So cheers to the audience. Cheers to anybody who's watching. So.
And then this is I thought when I saw the name, I was like, well, this is it's not a very manly beer, but this is Backwoods. Is that right?
Yes.
It's
Backwoods.
I'm gonna mention this, and they're gonna be out like later today.
Oh, they'll blow the keg. Yeah.
Dreamsicle. Or creamsicle.
Creamsicle.
I called around. Apparently, it's on tap only.
Creamsicle, something like that.
So you guys from Backwoods, if you're watching, can this stuff up or bottle it up so that I can take some with me next time.
Right. So back to the guys here at Union Tavern. It's a great spot. Again, we appreciate Joe and his gang allowing us in here. We've got Josh Kelly on bar today, tending us and helping us out. We got the lovely Kendra over here. She is the GM. She did some artwork for us on the signs out front, and been talking to her for several weeks about planning this thing out. So we're very fortunate to have this place to do this. It's a great outlet for us, but you know, a bunch of great people in here. We might get Joe over here and talk to him a little bit here in a bit.
I'm willing to put anybody on camera.
Sure. Yeah, he's a naval aviator, and we might talk some jets and stuff.
Okay, so here's my take on this place, having not seen this until last week for the first time.
Right.
If you're in the area, and this is a very nice. I would almost say it's almost kind of a resort destination in the Pacific Northern Peninsula area.
Correct. Yeah, we're
real moderate climates.
Mm-hmm.
So the town is beautiful, and it's a small town. Reminds me a little bit of the town that I live in when it was small. We'll get to that in a minute. But then this place. The first thing I will tell you is you can tell it's run by someone ex-military because it's clean. It's just hard to do.
This is true,
in a
man.
bar. It's really clean. Like you can eat off the floors here, and it's old dark wood.
It's a white glove inspection, which, you know,
and so. You don't run into that a lot. You know, you get sort of the whatever the meal of yesterday was, you can still pick fragments of it up. Not here. None of that. It's a really nice place. I've become a fan of the chalkboard things that they do with their taps. So a lot of places are doing that. It's well, two things. After you've had your first one, it's easier to go back to that and just remember kind of what you know. Because it's there.
It's true.
But I show you the percentages and the brewery and all that.
You'll get the ABV, you get the IBUs, you get to know where they're from. And Kendra does a great job with picking out the taps. She leans more towards she's an IPA fan just like I am, so I really appreciate
Aaron's got a shot of the beer board there. The chalkboard.
Yeah, we've got a beer.
And they've got some. They're out of hats. The hats are cool.
Yeah.
But this place, if you come to town, and you should come to town, it's Anacortes, Washington.
Yep.
Come visit Union Tavern. What's the street? What's the intersection?
It's 902 Commercial Avenue.
There you go.
And the zip, if you want to put it in your GPSs or your maps or whatever, if they can find it, which I'm sure they can, it's 98221 is your zip code. So just make sure you plug that in and mark it as a destination.
There you go.
So we marked it as a destination many years ago, and we keep coming back. So great place.
It is. It's like my favorite place in town. So I mean that, you know.
Yeah.
And the food's good too.
I can attest to that because yesterday I was in and I met with Joe and Kendra and our good friend who is a mixologist. He's sitting over there right now, and I hope we can talk to him as well, and Mr. Rothmeyer. But they had a nice little, it's Taco Tuesdays here, man. You get 2 tacos of choice, which is either beef or chicken, and a pint of beer for $10, man. You can't beat that. And it was delicious. Delicious.
I like their pub bread's good too.
Yeah,
it's kind of a pretzel bread. But
yeah, it's really good. Yeah. Oh, you talking about the pretzel,
whatever I had on?
Yeah, the pretzel
Friday.
balls. The pretzel balls. Yeah, they're really good. Beer cheese.
So, and we're gonna get to some of these characters over here in front and behind the bar in a little bit.
Yeah.
On the topic of setting your navigation and marking this place. By the way, are we too loud out there?
Are we too loud? Can anybody tell us?
I'm assuming people would have their fingers in their ears. Are we okay?
Perfect.
Okay.
Perfect.
So, my phone is being used as a mobile camera, which is cool.
Yeah.
But I got to tell you this. I discovered this yesterday.
We're getting a little bit of a...
Yeah, it's my phone.
You hear that? Yeah.
So, Waze, the app.
Yeah, Waze.
Okay, which Google now owns.
Right.
I discovered this yesterday. Waze has Sesame Street as one of the voices.
You really?
Yeah.
I'm kind of partial to Mr. T, actually.
So they did that a few years back, and that was...
Turn right, fool!
Yeah, and that intersected with a summer vacation of ours, and so we all got to use Mr. T. And Google changes them out, and I think it has to do with endorsements and sponsorships and stuff. But right now it's Sesame Street, and I'm going to see if I can do this, but you get...
I wonder what it would be like if they had like Robert Plant in like a song mode, like, hey man, won't you turn this way? Right?
Yeah.
You know?
I've heard it's a lot of recording time to get all of the like turns and navigations. Okay, so there is nothing better, kid or adult, kids of all ages, than to have Cookie Monster telling you.
Well, let's hear it. Let's hear it.
Oh, it may not work. I know. I'm sorry for the feedback.
That's awesome.
So,
though, man.
and then we, of course, chose Oscar the Grouch as the icon because, my wife felt like that was fitting for me. Oscar's not really, I think Oscar's misunderstood more than anything.
In what way?
Well, I mean, look, he's got set my camera.
I mean, I think the kids kind of understand Oscar.
Well, he's got his stuff.
Yeah.
He keeps, he's got a lot of junk. I mean, we have that in common.
He's got issues.
I do.
Yeah, we all have issues.
But he's just trying to he just misunderstood, man. I don't think he's as much of a grouch as he is just sort of just a guy that wants to be left alone.
Yeah.
Yeah. And look, I mean, as we approach Independence Day here a week and a half away, this country was founded by a group of people that just wanted to be left alone, right?
right.
So I just think he's a little bit misunderstood.
Well, I think that's interesting. I mean, what other kind of voices they have on there? I mean, it's just loaded with tons, right? Is Mr. T still on there?
They pulled him off.
Well, that's too bad because I like Mr. T, man. Mr. T was good. I mean, anybody that calls you a fool for turning or tells you to turn and then call you a fool, that's what I like. I think that's, can kind of motivate you to kind of get there right,
Yeah. So I don't have my little news moniker. If you've ever watched the podcast before, you'll just have to sing it in your head right now. Jay's pulling up his notes. But I've got a whole bunch. Do you have anything you want to kind of jump into here and talk about, or do you just want me to?
Well, no. I posted something in our Evernote file about what's going on. There's a test location in Oregon. Let me see if I can find the actual clip. It was posted the other day. Yeah, there it is. Let's see. And detour to disaster. I can't wait to get to that one on the mud flats.
Right.
Yeah. There it is, right there. Let's see here. Right, so here we go. So it's inside the race to develop the first flying self-driving car, man. In a rural Oregon airport, Airbus is testing what could become the world's first autonomous flying air taxi.
So this is Airbus. So they've got experience with aircraft.
They do have experience with aircraft, and I understand that Boeing is involved, and they're doing some testing. It's not with Airbus, but they're doing their own thing. But one of Airbus's Oregon projects is Vahana, a prototype of a single-seat autonomous air taxi that takes off vertically, like a helicopter. Yeah. And so it's going to be pretty cool. But what I thought was, so the prototype right now, it says the battery-powered aircraft can hit speeds of over 100 miles an hour. Okay. I think that Joe will probably find this interesting because it's going to clog up, traffic out there if this happens. But it can fly up to 35 miles right now.
So they're basically giant drones.
Pretty much is what it is. You got it. That's
okay.
Exactly what it is. Now, what I also found interesting is that Morgan Stanley predicts that flying cars, this is like Jetson stuff, man. It's just, if you've ever been a fan of the Jetsons, this is exactly what this is like. It says Morgan Stanley predicts flying cars will be a $1.5 to $3 trillion business in 20 years, meaning the race is on to develop a fleet of ride-sharing autonomous air taxis. Boeing's prototype took its first flight earlier this year. So there you go.
So we're kind of in a situation where we kind of have no other choice. So, can't go podcast without talking about Tesla. Elon Musk had his thing where he was trying to do his, and if my little boy were in here right now, he'd tell me the name of the company, but it was his rapid transit solution that he was trying to do out in California. And I'm not sure if that project is still going on or not. But he was trying to solve the same thing, which is traffic congestion.
It's kind of hard to say with Elon. Yeah, and that's exactly what he's trying to do.
And all of these towns, and so, when we started this podcast, we started talking about this is a small town, and that kind of makes its point. It's nice that way. Yeah. And I was drawn to, I'm going to sound like John Mellencamp for a second, but I grew up in a small town. You know, I met my wife in a small town. I mean, yeah. So,
Right.
And I've lived in the city, but it's just not. Again, you know, here we go.
Yeah. Well,
My-
you don't like people? Is that?
No.
You don't like lots of people.
I just don't like not being able to get somewhere
You know.
or find a place to park or
Yeah.
have to deal with, you know, sitting in traffic for 45 minutes
I get that.
to go
Yeah.
5 miles.
Absolutely.
And I like
Absolutely.
a little space. You know, I'm not one of these that likes my, you know, hand your neighbor a beer from your window kind of thing. That's a little bit too close for me.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I get it.
It should be working again.
Should be working, and our camera guy has something that she was asking. You had something for me? Were you asking me something?
It's all good. Everyone's enjoying it.
Everyone's enjoying. Can I give a shout out real quick though to my father-in-law is in the building here and mother-in-law, and we have some great friends down
They're
here.
down at the other
They're
end.
down at the other end. Thank you guys for showing up. But my father-in-law was in radio, retired from radio. It's Dennis Wills. He was at the KBRC and a number of other radio stations across the region. And his partner in crime was supposed to be here today, but he didn't make it. But I tell you what, it's a real pleasure and an honor to have him here with us today. They're very supportive of this effort that Keith and I have going on right now. So Parts Counter Gurus, they are a big fan. Mother-in-law is out of the trunk. She's here.
I see her sitting down there.
Yep, she's here. So we've worked that out. They're happy. They're up front. They're eating and they're drinking and they're good to go. So thanks, guys, for being here.
Speaking of supporting us,
Yeah.
For those of you that have subscribed on our YouTube channel, thank you. If you have not and you're listening to the podcast,
Yeah.
know that we have a YouTube channel. We would very much appreciate you go to that channel and subscribe. It's the Parts Counter Gurus on
That's it.
YouTube.
Yep.
If you just search on YouTube, you'll find us. We should be the first result. What's our website?
www.partscounterguru.com.
There is a tab at the top that says podcast links or something like that. And that lists all the different places you can find us.
Yep.
If you want to subscribe to the audio podcast, pretty much every platform out there we're on, all the major ones. So just click on that podcast links tab and it'll take you to all those different, like Apple and Stitcher and Google and
Spotify,
Android.
whatever. It's all out there. We're out there and we're loving every minute of it.
Okay, so back to the small town thing.
Yep.
So
yeah, speaking
12 years-ish ago, I moved to a small town south of Nashville. And it's an old historic town, Civil War era, lots of history. You could go anywhere in 20 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
When I moved to Nashville, I used to say that. You know, in the 90s, I could get anywhere in town in 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And then I moved out.
When I moved to Nashville, it was the same way. It was very
All right.
very
So,
easy to navigate through.
This is Franklin, Tennessee. Then Nissan moved to town, and so many companies have followed suit. And really, this comes down to, and I'm going to not turn this into a political rant, but just the city just letting people just nonstop develop like crazy. So it's gotten overblown, and now they can't afford to, they're in debt, and the way they solve that is they just move more people in, and they, congest more, the infrastructure gets a bigger load on it. So this hit the newswire yesterday. Okay. So Tennessee Governor Bill Lee has announced Mitsubishi Motors is relocating its North American headquarters to Franklin.
Oh boy.
You saw me yesterday at dinner. My blood pressure, I was just through the roof because where are these people? Where are we going to put all these people?
Right.
Like, there's just no place. We're out of space.
You guys are out of space. And what is the funny thing that you guys are saying in the Nashville area is like, don't stay. Don't, you can come here and play and spend your money but don't stay. There's just no room. It really is.
Well, as I like to say, you're welcome to visit. When you leave, take two people with you.
Take two people with
Yeah.
you. That's exactly right.
So,
Yep.
right. So,
And Seattle is probably saying the same thing right now,
Mitsubishi's headquartered in California right now, but it's going to make the move in August of this year, which is fast.
That
Just
is
a couple
fast.
months
well,
away.
Nissan did a similar move. I mean, I think it was.
Well, they moved
But
to
they did it
downtown
over-
Nashville for a while they
Right.
were building the new headquarters.
It was a good transition for them, But see, it started happening for the Nashville area when GM built a Saturn plant, because Saturn was built down there.
And look, I don't mind at all. Like we love automotive stuff. I mean, this is great. I'm just I just want to go and fire down the road and be left alone, right?
Right.
Put the lid on,
Yeah.
and not have to hear all the rattling going on outside.
Right. That's awesome. I just got. I'm going to give a shout out to someone that's watching in Mount Vernon right now on a big screen, and I know who that is, and you know who you are. So props to you guys. Sorry you couldn't make it. There's a lot of good food going around here, but anyway, we'll catch up with you guys sometime.
They're actually giving beer away, and you're not here.
You're not here. Yeah, you missed it.
Yeah, it stops in about 3 minutes.
Yeah. Well, they're not giving us any beer.
No, well, they do. You just have to pay for it.
Yeah,
that was the part I left out.
That's it. So, a couple things, that what would work, here's the thing. Okay, you're talking about Mitsubishi moving into this area. You already have Nissan there. You already have the GM plant down there. What are they building down there in the GM
So
plant?
that's in Spring Hill, and it was Saturn. And then when Saturn when they shuttered the Saturn brand, which most people don't know, that was owned by General Motors.
Right.
Then they switched it over to an engine manufacturing plant. Now I don't know whose engine. It's GM, but I don't know which of their products they're making engines for.
For me, I think if I was not mistaken, they were building maybe the Traverse or something. It's an SUV down there that they're building now. But where I'm going with this is we just talked about the autonomous flying taxis, right?
Yep.
This is where this sort of stuff comes into play because I think as we there's not a whole lot of other places to go, not a whole lot of places to develop anymore. There's a lot of restrictions on where you can and where you can't develop. I think that this is the future because people, those long commutes, they really suck, man. I went through it when I lived in Nashville. My commute, 28 miles would take me sometimes an hour and a half, 2 hours, one way.
Yeah.
Okay. So, maybe this is the future. And, as they said, they're going to be putting in, almost $3 trillion invested into this within 20 years. So I think it's the way of the future. It'll happen. We talked about this in past podcast about all these autonomous vehicles like delivery vehicles. So maybe, the autonomy coming into play will help reduce the congestion, and we can kind of all get back to just sitting and relaxing and enjoying our lives. I think the road rage factor is like escalated right now. But you came out here and you drove through the Seattle area.
Oh, it's really easy. So as driving an RV, and you told me this, you a lot of times driving through cities is pretty rough because you're slow. You're slow to change lanes, to speed up, to slow down. You're big and slow.
Yeah.
And so when you get in rush hour, you get a lot of guys that are from stop and go. They're zipping around you, and you can't change lanes.
That's right.
Nobody will ever give it. Out here, it was great. People were so laid back, and I'd put my signal on, and they'd let me go, and they'd give me room. Now Canada, not so much, because we went into Canada yesterday, and that was hothead city. But
Canada's a bowling alley, man.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a lot of balls flying around with a lot of pins at the end. It's just the way it works. So be careful when you drive up into that area. It's definitely not fun. I've driven through there. I didn't care for it. But I've been prepped for it because not growing up there, but living in the Nashville area for as long as I did. And commuting out of the city every day, it became really easy. But I've driven in big cities like Atlanta, and if you can get through Atlanta, that's not a hard one to navigate through if you pay attention to what's going on. I've never driven in LA, so I don't know how those people.
Nor do I have any interest in doing that.
Yeah, I have a friend of mine who is an actor who lives in the area in LA. His name is Marlon Young. And Marlon, I'm going to reach out to you now on this podcast. I know you're friends with me on Facebook. I don't know if you're friends with us on partscounterguru.com, but we need to get you on the horn sometime and let's talk about your commute. I would love to have that happen. So let's do that. Also have another friend, man, back in Nashville that we're gonna start getting on our podcast. Ken, you know who you are.
Hi, Ken.
Hi, Ken. How are you? I love you, man. I appreciate everything you've ever done for me, and you know that. So,
how you doing?
How you doing there? We nicknamed him Brooklyn Ken. For obvious reasons there, eh?
So you want to do a yeah, well, they may not have it out, but we can ask.
Yeah, we can ask. Yeah, sure. Aaron, does Aaron want to be our?
Yeah, we can do it. Guys at the bar, ladies and gentlemen at the bar, if you've got a coaster, flip it over and see if there's anything on the bottom of it. I'm yelling, sorry. Look on the bottom of your coaster. Anybody got anything on it? You win if you do. Down here, you got something on the bottom of them. All right. So what are we?
Do you have anything on the bottom? Anything written on the bottom?
You'll know. It'll have something on the bottom. Anything? If not, you have to order another drink and keep drinking until you get one.
Oh, I see. Well, why don't you ask? Can you ask for us? Ask. Check your cool. Yeah, check them.
Have something, Hat or Mr. Pink or whatever to go. They're all like,
They don't.
Okay, they're in there.
Well, go give it to somebody.
Yeah, put it up in the top stack.
Put it up on the top stack. Next person that buys a beer
win something. There you go.
Josh is going to throw down the coaster, and you're going to win something.
All right, so Mitsubishi coming to town.
Yeah. So what else we got? We got some.
So
more, we got plenty more news here.
Ford.
Oh, this is awesome. Yeah.
So which of the Ford articles are you?
The GT?
Okay.
Yeah.
So Ford released the they leaked, or let's see, how did we find out about this? They teased it. They're gonna debut a new GT at the Goodwood Auto Show.
Yes.
And
I saw that.
which I think is great, but the current generation is not that old. And when you do luxury or exotics,
Yeah.
you know, usually like Ferrari and Lamborghini, they don't change product lines that often, right?
No, and I find it very interesting, man, that quickly, because you got to know that the 2019 owners
Right.
are a little bummed because there's some news. We do have a winner. Who's our winner?
Give them a choice of like Mr. Pink or a hat.
Yeah.
Mr. Pink or a hat.
Pink or a hat. We got two types of hat: trucker hat or like a golf hat. Who won? Hey, all right.
So you get your choice of car wash or hat.
You want some car wash?
Car wash soap or a hat.
That's Chemical Guy's Mr. Pink Car Wash.
You get to keep the coaster too. You win and you get to keep the winning ticket.
And there's autographs on that, so if we ever become famous, it may be worth something.
That's right. You can sell it on eBay for $0.25.
Exactly. You get the money back out of that coaster, man, because those things are expensive.
I fixed the camera, I think, by the way. Okay, so new GT.
Camera guy.
Oh, it's fine. It's fine. So new GT, we don't really know specs about it.
No specs, but I know that the horsepower has increased tremendously.
Yeah. So that's pretty exciting. Well, the last one was a 6.
Yeah,
because they focused more on lap times.
3.5 liter.
Yeah.
It was the Z. Is it the Z-Tech?
I think so. The generation before that was an 8. So
they used the same engine in the Ford F-150. Yeah, which is crazy.
Well,
just
lightweight but powerful.
Put that in perspective, guys. But we talked about that. If you're in a GT, and running one of those, it's a different story. I don't think you're so worried about gas mileage in a GT. But if you're driving a Ford F-150 and you're trying to pull a load with a 3.5 liter in it,
right,
you might struggle a little bit on gas mileage. It's going to get overworked. That's just the way it is.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're not going to. Most of those performance engines in those performance cars, they're not designed to handle an enormous amount of weight.
No.
You're hearing everything okay?
I'm hearing everything just fine, yes.
We do know the 2020 Shelby GT 500 Mustang horsepower.
Mm-hmm. Right.
They announced that at 760.
760
with 625 foot-pounds of torque.
Unbelievable,
that's
man.
Pretty crazy.
That's pretty fast.
That's why it's a Shelby, but Ford sells that under their factory line with full factory support.
Yeah, you got to know they're trying to compete with the Dodge, the Hellcat.
Right.
That's exactly what they're doing.
So that just came out. They debuted the car in Detroit earlier in the year, but they didn't release specs, performance specs on it.
Exactly. So they kind of teased everybody a little bit, and then they moved along to that. But I still just can't get you can't Dodge Fiat. Really? I mean, that just doesn't ring for me, man.
So my son today was talking, and I think he's watching this, so I'm saying hi to him.
Hey, buddy.
Um,
Thank you for all your help this week,
he
by
was
the way.
playing a racing game this morning, and he won in the racing game a I'm going to get this wrong. It's one of the performance Vipers.
Yes.
One of the high-end Vipers.
Yes.
And he was pretty excited that he unlocked that. And I said, yeah, they don't make those anymore. And he said, why? And I said, well, with all those sort of like traction control regulations and stuff that were coming through, they didn't have those in the car. It didn't have those features, so they just discontinued it.
Right.
So where is that car now? Like, Ford's coming out with the Shelby GT500, a new GT.
Right.
You got the Hellcat dropping transmissions on the drag strip.
And they're not in NASCAR anymore.
Right.
So there's another thing. I mean, what's going on with all that?
But
I mean, what?
So, pun intended here, it seems like Dodge is a little bit asleep at the wheel in that people are spending the money for the margins are bigger on these performance cars.
They are, yeah.
I mean,
why not?
Right.
Put them out there.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And you've got the name.
Yeah.
Regardless of whether it's a better car than the previous generation or not, if it's a Viper, it'll sell.
Yeah.
There's plenty of recently divorced guys out there that need a new car.
Absolutely, man. And they need it. They feel it.
Yep.
They want it. They need to get back in the game. So here's the other thing, man. We talked about the GT, the Ford GT is coming like that.
We're going to stay on Ford? I think I know where you're going with this. Go ahead.
Well, no, actually, maybe you don't. But I was going to talk about, about when was there was the Anacortes Waterfront Festival here just recently. When was that? Like, it's always the first weekend in June, and my camera guy wife and I went out.
Guy wife.
Yeah, and Aaron, and she and I went out and we did a little filming of certain things, and we found that people are not really happy about the mid-engine Corvette, man. We did a podcast earlier on it, and I bring that up because of the Ford GT. They announced this secret information, right, and that's kind of where I'm going. So, we'll talk about that, but they're releasing. It's like around July 4th, but I think the C8, generation C8 mid-engine Corvette is going to be out there and available. I think July 19th.
So this is what I think they're doing. Now, the lady that's running GM has been very open about kind of her strategy being different and saying we've got to change because we're getting beat up by all these other companies around us, our competitors that are changing. So I think they're going to a different generation. So you put a mid-engine vehicle on the road, and that's designed to handle better, right?
Correct. Yeah, that's what.
So they're going for. So Corvettes have been known for horsepower forever.
That's right.
This is sledgehammer.
That's right.
So now they're going after the crowd that wants just what Ford did in the previous generation of the GT, that wants lap times. Right. They want to take it out on the track, or they want to turn the car. Yeah. They want to go around corners and have it not slide out on them, right? So you're balancing the car better with a mid-engine.
Absolutely.
So that's a strategy change for them. So they're maybe trying to sell to a different crowd, and they may not want to hear this, but those guys that don't care about it or are upset by it, they may not want them as customers as much as they want to pick up the younger customers.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. And most of the people that I talk to are really, disturbed by the whole thing.
Right.
Could not understand, I did get the consensus that they realized that they're trying to move more and get more into the racing scene, deeper into the racing scene to spread their wings a little bit.
Right.
And in order to do that, you have to obviously reduce weight to be competitive. So that's what, I think my understanding was, we spoke on this in a previous podcast about the type of engine that's going to go into the mid-engine Corvette.
Right.
But my understanding is it's probably going to be a V6 at the racing level.
Yeah, and they're going to bark about that, and they're going to say, it's a 6, and it's not my 8, and I can't, I can't do burnouts on the, drag strip with it or whatever. but if it lives up to because they've done a lot of great things with the big heavy one that they have, and they're almost there from a competitive standpoint with some of these lighter cars. If they if they can just turn that corner, so to speak, this could be a real winner for them.
Yeah, it could. So there you go. There you have it. We think that there's a head-to-head with those two guys.
Yep.
Ford and GM in that regard. And
forever.
obviously they have been forever, but they're really turning up the heat with all that stuff. So, so we're gonna, a little later on. By the way, I was going to bring this up that there's a couple of people in here that I really want to sit down and talk to and bring them in. And Rothmeier's one of them. He's quite the hiker. We'll get to that a little later, but we've got Mike and we might get Mike in.
Are you busy? Are you busy, Mike?
Are you busy, Mike?
Are you Facebooking?
Are you? Yeah, you on Facebook right now?
Can you?
Are you watching this?
Sit.
Where should he sit? You want to sit?
Put him over there.
Right
put him here. Put him right here.
Put Joe here too. Yeah.
Wherever.
Come on, join in.
We got a mobile camera here. Let me.
I don't know.
Let me.
Don't do that one. Leave that one alone. He's got this.
Yeah.
Turn this one.
Who we doing first, Joe or Mike? You know what we should do is you want to have a little contest here between them.
We can, yeah, we can. You guys just like love each other, so just.
And I'm friends, sure. But I just don't want to arm wrestle that guy. Really bad.
Yeah, he's pretty good with his joysticks, right? Yeah. So gotta watch him.
So, I'm gonna get this fancy tripod working here.
So people, this is while we're going through this is live, and this is what you're gonna have. But we got some really neat folks that I've met in the years that I've lived here. They're great people, and when Keith came to town, he could see very quickly why I've grown accustomed to these guys and really appreciate them. Oh, what do we have here? Yeah,
I can talk about that.
So
I need to get I was going to get Josh to kind of tell us about the week. Or let's talk about this. What is this drink you're drinking?
So I think it's something you enjoyed
that way just a little.
Yeah.
Recently, right? But it's Negroni week, which is basically just it's kind of a charity week. We pick a charity, and we all enjoyed Negroni type drinks. Which are, there's ones that are obviously Negroni.
Yeah.
For those that don't know, anyway, it's gin, Campari, and sweet vermouth. We're having a Boulevardier, which is a cousin.
Is that what I had yesterday?
What's in that?
Boulevardier.
That was delicious.
Right on. So yeah, that's bourbon
and
Campari
okay.
and sweet vermouth.
Okay.
And so there's also a tequila version called Rosita, which I highly recommend too if you're a tequila drinker. She plays really well. Today?
We should
sure.
Maybe.
Let's wait till the last 10 minutes.
And there's the lovely Kendra.
There she is. Yeah.
There she is. Say hi. Lean in. Say hi.
Bar manager Kendra.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Kendra. Thank you, Mike.
So,
my pleasure.
So, go ahead. You got some stuff.
Well, he's talking about what this is and what this week is. This week is very important for these guys. So take it away.
Well, that was pretty much all I got really, as far as it's Negroni week. It's not a huge deal. I mean, again, we anybody who wants to participate does a little donation. We did a donation to the United States Bartenders Guild Bartenders Fund. So if you have a medical
now, do you have a kilt or something when you're a member? You have to,
no, the
like a card. Do you get a card or a pin?
You got to pay to be a member, and there are benefits to being a member.
Like
I'm not a. Oh, I can't be.
There's a secret backdoor entrance to Costco that you get to.
You can look it up online, and if you are a bartender, I suggest that if you're a bartender to look that up.
Okay.
Yeah.
You hear that? Bartenders out there in the world, you need to look it up. So
look up. I mean, USBG. It's a good thing to be a part of for sure.
All right.
And this helps out people that are in this industry, that are bartenders in this industry, maybe struggling through some things. And
if you had a major health issue, I want to say I don't know. I don't remember the exact numbers again. I'd have to look it up. But I want to say they've helped people out to the tune of in the hundreds of thousands of dollars in medical issues.
Let's put a link on the website.
We'll put a link on our website. For that.
There's a mentioned on the podcast link at what's our website again?
www.
You're talking to Mike's
partscounterguru.com. Hey man, you can hear me. I'm just loud. So there you go.
Okay, yeah. So there's a mention on the podcast tab. We will put what camera am I looking at here? We'll put a link to the guild on our website.
Yeah, there you go.
If you want more information,
we're not officially a spokesman or anything.
No. Doesn't matter. Cool. We want to help out.
We'll just link them to the main website. Right. Okay.
The main thing is, guys, is that this is real world stuff. People are out here trying to make a living. You walk into a bar and you take it for granted that everything is hunky dory with these guys. There is no different than you or me or anybody else. We all struggle through life with certain things. So let's go help these guys out. We're going to do our part by putting this link up, and hopefully we can help them. So,
You are.
Joe, where are you going? So we got Joe on camera here too. So why don't you? We're gonna do this. Here. Let's. So,
there you go.
So Joe is owner. Once you, Joe is owner.
You can do the
Yeah.
You can do the interview.
Joe is owner, and I've learned a lot from Joe since.
I'll just sit here like this.
Yeah, thanks. There you go. Oh, just like. Yeah, there you go. Joe, why did you open this place? What was the passion to open this place? I mean,
I don't really know. I always try to wish I had a great answer to that question. I think it was just this town had room for another bar, a kind of bar that I liked going to.
Yeah.
With a certain look, a certain aesthetic feel, and what we can offer, and that's unique. And time and opportunity just intersected, and we had a good shot at getting a beautiful space here, and I was able to put it together.
Now you have some stuff that goes on during the week nights, like event kind of stuff that you put on your Facebook page, which I've seen, and where else? Like when you have things going on, if somebody wants to, let's say they want to come to trivia night. I've heard about trivia night, right? So how do they find out?
Kendra, my manager, talented, lovely lady, handles the majority of 99%.
So you're the social media.
Social media.
So tell us about it.
For the most part, yeah, I'd say Facebook and Instagram is where we do most of our social media stuff.
Okay.
And otherwise, we just do posters and stuff.
What's your Instagram handle?
It is Union Tavern _ local 902.
That's it. It's at local at Union. That's it. At Union. That's it. No, you're
Union
right.
Tavern _
She does a great job. Any of the posts, she's doing all that stuff
Okay.
too. So she does a great
We
job.
post our food specials every day, for the most part, anyway. All of our events will always be on Facebook. We don't all. I mean, we'll always advertise for trivia, but every week trivia has a different, like, losers category that they choose the week before, and it's always different. We do have brewers nights. We try and do them once or twice a month. Sometimes it's less, sometimes it's more. We have a dog fundraiser coming up in a couple weeks. That will be a huge event.
Oh, nice.
A dog fundraiser?
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
For a dog rescue.
Pet friendly environment
Okay.
here.
They
Yep.
rescue
Wait,
dogs from
I
the
could have
south.
brought my dog here
Yes.
Absolutely.
Okay.
The beer garden's always dog friendly.
because alcohol cleans anything. It'll kill any germs, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
From within and from without. So.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Minus my cold right now, but that's fine.
Well, but you took my advice and you had your red pepper flakes in your chicken broth.
I added
last night.
more to it, but yeah.
Things just got weird all of a sudden.
Well, no,
All right.
you gotta do that. So
But yeah, I would say mostly Facebook is where we do the majority of our advertising.
Okay.
As far as like social or like the internet goes, we do have a website as well. We're not as up to date as far as events on that, although we probably should be. But that is www.theuniontavern_local902.com.
awesome.
So
and
I,
that has our full menu on there as well.
I've
Yeah,
got ooh,
great menu too. Great menu too, by the way.
Okay. So, and you may not want me saying this. I'm going to say it anyway. Like, I have a sort of special. I sort of feel like veteran-owned establishments are kind of a special thing, and there's some cool stuff. Like, but you know, it's kind of hidden up on the bar. You got your helmet up there. Navy.
Navy.
Yes. Okay. Pilot.
I was, yes.
Okay. Obviously, with the helmet, either that or you took it from somebody on your way out the door.
I took it out on the way out the door.
Yeah,
but-
Right.
Okay.
So do you have to turn those things in when you leave? Oh, wait a minute. We may need to. We need to scrub this. Scrub it. No.
I think it's
Scrub the
encouraged,
mission.
but
So, especially guys that don't make a deal of it later, and they're just one of us, so to speak, except that we haven't seen combat. But I just sort of feel like if I have my choice of the bar down the street that isn't veteran-owned or this one, come on, we're coming up on Independence Day. We all kind of owe our freedom to that. So Joe's probably not going to tell you, but this is a veteran-owned establishment. Come support him for that reason.
Absolutely. And he supports the veterans that come in here as
Yeah.
well. There's a lot of neat things that happen here. I can tell you I've been part of some of the activities. They do a great job of promoting it, and they do a great job of keeping you in the game while you're here.
Yeah. Okay.
Great giveaways usually, a lot of good beer. And how many? 18 tap? 18 tap handles here,
We
man.
get one keg of each beer, so it changes.
It rotates
every
like,
day.
yeah, it's awesome. It's great. And now do you see why I love this place?
Yeah, and so most of the beers are. So I didn't even say this earlier, but this is stuff that's local flavor.
Yeah.
Right. So I mean,
Regional. When you say regional,
I'm looking at
yeah.
the taps here.
I mean, being from
Okay.
the Pacific Northwest, we're kind of spoiled.
There's
so.
a Rogue, so that's a common, okay. But then
Yeah.
there's a lot of stuff that I've been to. Jay's taken me on the brewery tours this past week, and we've gone to some of these, and I've been like, ooh, right? It's all that
Yeah.
on the tap. So, yeah.
You tried to order 2 cases of something that you have on tap,
Yeah,
and
you can only get it here.
they only sell it in a keg. You can't get it in.
You can
you
only
can't-
get it here.
So
Yeah. It was the dreamsicle or
backwoods,
Oh,
backwoods.
yeah.
So if you're listening backwoods, hey, and just say it.
Carson, Washington. The
Carson?
bustling town of Carson, Washington.
There you go. Hey, and how would we get to Carson, Washington by trail?
By trail. Oh, that's a good question.
Good luck.
Yeah, Kendra would know
So,
better how to get
It's
there than
actually
me.
it's closer to Oregon than here. I wouldn't know from here, but from Oregon, it's about probably like an hour from the Oregon border.
if you
Okay.
do happen in here and Mike's working, Mike, you know kind of the outdoors kind of life and things to. If you
Slightly.
got questions about. You guys are old enough. Remember the Tonight Show with Johnny Carson?
Absolutely.
Stump the band.
Mhm.
Okay, so
Yeah.
come in and stump Mike and ask him like
Sure.
local, like I asked him about the weather on Rainier and where to look that up, and
Yeah.
And if you're, by the way, if you're drinking the beer, it's pronounced Ronier.
okay,
Just want to give you that.
Yeah.
So just saying.
Classy.
But yeah, he is the guy on the trails.
Okay.
These guys, you fly. You guys
Trails
like,
and cocktails.
yeah,
Rob.
trails and
Yeah.
cocktails. And we were asking him about morel mushrooms yesterday.
Oh yeah.
He was teaching me how to find those here and what to look for and how to cook them. And he's got all kind of outdoor. You guys just recently went on a fishing trip recently or something or
Yes, and it was challenging, but I'm not complaining.
That's right.
who won? That's what I want to know.
Joe did a great job. We didn't get to our destination, but yeah, it was just one of those. It was a washed out road where I like to call it bike packing, where
Okay.
you get on
Yeah.
your bike. And I learned real fast, you never want to bike with a backpack on because it makes the seat hurt all that much more.
Yeah.
Once you've
Yeah.
passed about 5 miles, you really
now you know why
Yeah.
those guys have the saddlebags.
That's right.
totally
Yeah.
the panniers, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. And so we have kid trailers and loaded those up with way too much gear,
Of course.
and didn't quite make it to where we wanted to, but made it to a really cool
Were you
spot.
stream fishing or lake fishing?
We're stream fishing.
Okay.
It ended up being not a real fruitful fishing trip, but it was a very fruitful hangout camp trip with great
That's
weather.
what it's all about.
And beautiful scenery, and can't get enough of that.
Well, I'm never invited, so
Yeah.
that's just
Well,
what
anytime
happens,
you want to strap
know.
80 pounds to a bicycle and go
Oh,
2,000
you
feet
can.
uphill
Yeah.
and not even make it halfway,
Oh,
you're
really?
more than welcome.
So in
Yeah.
other words,
This is your guy.
so there's like
But
6.
he called the Forest Service.
There's your
I
introduction.
did.
there you go.
There's your hazing moment. Is you make the new guy be the mule.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, the worst part was I wasn't allowed to complain. I don't know why you prefaced that I can't complain.
We had a deal. We had a deal.
But not
I went on a trip that I didn't want to go on with Joe. Let's not talk about that. Don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. But I went ahead and went on that trip, and I said, okay, well, I will go if you go on a backpacking trip with me. That was the original thing, was backpacking trip, and not complain. So that's where that came from.
And you didn't complain.
The entire ascent
You-
into hell, I
there
didn't
you-
complain.
That's great, man. That's awesome, man. So, how often do you try to get out to go? Get out on a trail and
If I
backpack?
had it my way, I work 5 days a week, so I would be out 2 nights a week if I could, but I'm not always. I mean, it's more like 3 times a month.
Yeah, and be truthful though. The weather really doesn't matter unless it's like super ice cold,
Not
right?
a bit. Oh no, even.
Oh, you're
like,
even. Oh man.
Like, please give me the
Give
below.
you that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally. Give me
Yeah.
less than 32, no problem.
Are you originally from this area?
Ish. I mean, in that I grew up and was born in Southern California, but I spent a lot of time up here as a kid. My parents split up, and so I spent all summers up in this area, all the way up to
Yeah.
Alaska too.
Yeah.
So,
That's the person that appreciates the area
Yeah,
and
yeah.
has chosen it,
Yeah.
right? So
totally. Oh
yeah.
man, yeah. It was a great thing. Actually, raising my kids up here, it was a decision, deliberate decision
Yeah.
too. Great schools here. Just
Be careful, man. You get what I'm getting now. you start telling people that, and they all start moving in.
Oh
and
yeah,
then-
our weather's
that's all
terrible
right.
though.
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
it's
Yeah, don't
absolutely terrible.
don't come here. Just
right now.
we're gonna scrub
Here we
scrub
are
the
in
whole
January.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's looting going on right
Yeah,
now in
it's
the street.
horrible.
Kendra, you're from Oregon,
I'm from Oregon.
and what brought you to the area?
Funny story. My mom met someone online dating and moved here first. I moved here from
Wow,
Portland.
that's
So
a-
I grew up in Bend.
Okay.
I moved to Portland for college, and I got really sick of the city, and I wasn't ready to move back home yet. So I moved to Anacortes, Washington. I'd never even heard of it, and I'd been here
Yes.
one time, and I moved here.
I'm so stoked you moved here.
Well, yeah, well,
Nice, I love
Joe's pretty stoked that you're here too. So
Geographically, it's wonderful. It's a very, very incredibly beautiful place.
To visit.
awesome.
It's a very, very incredibly
If you
beautiful
stay,
place.
you don't, you know.
Yeah,
Horrible.
just-
I mean,
yeah.
we can
You
tell
can-
the
you
truth
can
too.
visit.
It's really expensive.
it is
Joe,
very, very expensive.
Joe, you're not originally from the area, are you? Or are you?
No, I was an Air Force brat, and I was stationed here in the Navy. So longest I ever was anywhere was Oklahoma.
Well, it's another example of somebody that saw this area and then chose it and said, "I want to live there." You know.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, we have a huge military presence here in this area with it's mainly Navy, but of course south of us we have what is it?
JBLM.
JBLM Joint Base Lewis
Lewis
McChord. One's Air Force, one's Army. I was unfortunately when I was in the Air Force, I put McChord down as a base to come to when I came back to the States after serving over in Europe for several years, but I didn't get it. They stuck me in the armpit of the world, which is Dover, Delaware.
Well, that's
Dover,
more like-
Delaware. I don't miss you.
Isn't it called Florida?
That's like-
Which isn't that where
No,
you
no,
live?
you can.
Well, you get beach days.
Yeah,
You know, it's,
at least you have Disney World there. You know, they have not. I mean, I think Delaware is like a parking lot for Philadelphia or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think you have to pay. You pay to. Yeah.
I don't know. I'd like to give a shout out to Dothan, Alabama. As,
Oh.
as a popular.
I got a buddy of mine who's listening right now. Bullet, if you're listening right now, Dothan, Alabama is not approved. Just saying.
all right.
Do not roll Tide.
So I know you guys are very gracious to like not
Yeah.
get antsy with us, and you let us pull you over here and talk to you and ask you questions that you know.
It's fun, man.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I'm grateful for your time for just coming over here and hanging out with us for a little bit. I don't want to make the other guests suffer, but I'm learning. So
No,
much here.
this is fun. This is a little bit out of our norm
Yeah.
of what we usually talk about. We knew that was what it was going to be. I really don't. I have no problem with this. This is great.
Yeah.
People who have cars that work on cars like to come to a bar and drink beer and have good food.
Yeah.
Period. That's
Yeah.
what we're talking about.
I'm
Matter of
just
fact,
gonna sit here and say yeah.
well, we have a podcast coming up. Not a podcast. We might do a video, maybe a podcast. It's called Beers for the
Yeah,
Right
we've
Beers
been
for the
shooting
Job.
videos all over town all week.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
get ready. Get ready, friends and fans. Get ready.
Any car?
Are you ready?
They do car shows out
Yes,
here.
they do a lot of car shows.
Actually.
As a matter of fact, you have the Corvette show that goes on during the Anacortes Waterfront
Yep.
Festival. Then you have
So the waterfront's just
it's right
two
here.
blocks from
Yeah.
here. So if you're at the waterfront, come over here.
It's at the marina in that area right there. They have great bands, great food. Very well organized. Thank you, sir. Very well organized. Thank you guys so
Thank
much.
you.
We
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Yeah.
We're gonna get Josh over here in a minute. When I get him to bring me a beer, I'll have someone cover for him. I want to talk about the pastor
Okay.
behind the
Thank
bar
you.
there.
Yeah, dropping it.
Anyway, yeah, there's a lot of car shows that go on here. There is at San Juan Bowling Alley, which is just down Commercial Avenue. They have a what they call it, San Juan Lanes. Thank you very much. They have what they call a cruise in weekly, and then they have it mated with a Brewers Night. So you'll have some classic cars. I've got a little video spot, some interviews that I did with some folks that were showing their cars here a few weeks back as well. We'll put that out on our channel, which is on YouTube, Parts Counter Gurus or Parts Counter Gurus.
Keep talking. I'm struggling over here.
So we got some technical difficulties that he's
It's
trying to fix. It's
just
all
my
good.
mobile.
So do you want another beer?
Sure.
Yeah. So
Same thing for me.
So
the dream
so Josh, if he's having a creamsicle, I'm going to have another one of the Aslan. And when you come back, we're going to talk to you.
Sounds good.
Are you ready for
So
that?
don't come back unless you're ready to, sit
I
down.
think I'm good.
Thank you.
But yeah, so that, and then of course in October, is it October or September? There's the largest bike rally and show in the Pacific Northwest, which is the annual oyster run, and they get tens of thousands of bikes and people in here. It's the, if you will, unofficial into the summer season. And yeah, oyster run. But it's the unofficial into the season for a lot of folks. It's a lot of fun. They pack the streets. They close down the streets, and they a lot of cruising bikes again.
Sorry.
So it's a lot of fun. You should come in just to see some of those things. They have a lot of good accommodations around the area. You've got the Swinomish Casino that has a lot of hotel rooms there. You also have just down the street a couple of hotels. You've got some motels down there. So there's like, I'm being advised, there's like 10. So, and there's a lot of Airbnbs. So you'll have plenty of accommodations when you come into this town. And a lot of good food choices, a lot of good restaurants. It's geared towards entertaining you. It's geared towards the boating community. It's a lot of fun. So please come and visit, but leave. Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
So just don't stay. Just don't stay.
If you decide to build, at some point you got to send somebody else out of town on your way out. Thank you.
Thanks, Josh. You got time to sit down and talk for just a second?
Restaurant's kind of clear right now. We're good.
All right.
Yep. So
I got a question for him first.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you ever watched The Office?
Yeah,
TV
yeah.
show, the American version.
Yep, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's an episode of The Office where they're using a GPS
Mm-hmm.
and they refuse to look around, and they
Okay.
drive, I think it was Michael and Jim or something, and they drove right into the lake.
Yeah,
You see this one?
it sounds vaguely familiar. Yeah.
Okay, so Google Maps got dozens of Colorado drivers in a mud mess on Sunday. Did you hear about this?
I did not.
hear about
So
that. Yeah.
it's in Aurora, which is southeast of Denver.
Yeah.
Dozens of
Yeah.
drivers hoping to find a quicker route around a crash. Basically, it drove them off the road, and it did not go through like Google said it did.
Right.
And
Awesome.
they took an exit, and they ended up in the field in the mud.
That's
and-
a lot.
And Google actually has taken me. I'm staying at Fidalgo Bay,
Uh-huh.
and it tries to get me to turn left out of there.
Yeah. And you can't.
And I'm like,
It's posted
well, I
no turn
could, but
But yeah, you go over. Yeah,
Right.
you're a few bumps there.
You're
So,
breaking the traffic laws. Yeah.
I don't know. I've stumbled on this article, and I thought of The Office, and then I thought of this place because there have been some recent changes in traffic flow and all
Yeah.
that, and so So anyway, so that has nothing to do with why we brought you
That's
over
a
here.
fun little story, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
And as all side stories go, it works.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. So thanks.
So
Go ahead.
Josh is
Yes.
is a pastor.
Okay, now
Yeah,
I got
okay.
you now. Jay
Okay.
told me all about you.
And he is a bartender and an author. So
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, I was a pastor for about 15 years. Enjoyed doing that. About 5 years ago, my church shrunk down to a place that was no longer viable, and so we closed it, sold the house, and drove around the country for 8 months, including spending a week in Nashville, which I thought was really cool. And I like Nashville. It actually is about the section of Nashville we were in felt more northwest than any other part of the South I'd
Do
been
you
in.
remember where it was?
We went over this one bridge and kind of took a right.
It might have been the Shelby Bridge. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Probably Shelby,
like the main bridge that goes into the downtown area,
You
kind
were
of
in East Nashville.
Yeah, that sounds about
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
That is an area that has it was really run down when I first moved to town in the 90s,
Uh-huh.
and they've all these old houses, and people come in and just started
Yeah.
restoring
Big,
stuff.
huge.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Huge
it was
home.
really cool. We really
It's
liked
real
it.
eclectic. There's all these great little just like ice cream shops
Yep.
that somebody just put like in an old house.
Yeah. Well, there was a coffee shop that's actually called Portland Coffee Shop or something like that.
Yeah.
So it's definitely trying to play on the Northwest
Yeah,
theme.
yeah.
So-
Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh yeah. So not long before my church closed, I actually wrote a book as a Christian living book called Radically Normal. It was traditionally published. Really enjoyed writing it. Got great reviews and all that. But since no one's heard of Josh Kelly, it didn't sell really. It's like 8,000 copies.
We're going to put a link to it.
We're gonna
on
put
the
a
web.
link to
Is
it.
Okay,
it
yeah,
still
absolutely.
available?
Yeah, it's still available on Amazon. It's mainly as audiobooks and PDFs. It's kind of like my publisher rescinded it, which means they don't print more copies, but they're out there. So
You need to. Before we're out of here, I've got to introduce you to my wife, Mary.
okay, we'll chat. Yeah.
You guys would like more. You're gonna get trapped in a corner because this is right up our.
This is great.
Cool.
Yeah,
I look forward to it. I look forward to it.
yeah.
So, anyways, in that process, I realized, I love being a pastor, but I just don't want to be pastor again. It's a job
Yeah.
that certainly has burnout. But I love writing.
Yeah.
And so then Mike, who you talked to
Yeah.
earlier, offered me a job as a bar back, which is kind of the bartender's version of a busser.
Yeah.
Started there, worked my way up quickly, and been bartending for about 4 years. I actually like bartending. It pays better than being a pastor,
Yeah.
to be honest, unless your name's Joel Olstein or something.
Right. Well,
And-
when I went to Belmont in Nashville.
Okay, yeah, that's the real big music program there,
It
right?
used to be a little school.
And yeah,
When I was there, but now it's like.
oh, a buddy of mine. That's where Judah and the Lion are from.
Yeah.
I think.
Oh,
Yeah.
they're all like some of the guys that you have heard of. I was like I would be sitting in class and I'd be like, oh, dude, you're, or we'd be at a Christmas party and there'd be a gold record on the wall.
Yeah. Oh gosh.
Right.
Oh, that's you.
Right.
That's
man.
the crazy thing about Nashville. Sorry to go back to Nashville with this gal that she let stay in her Airbnb there. She took us to her church, and after that was Matthew Nathanson, I think is the guy's name. Someone he's like B level, not like superstar.
Yeah.
But he's known.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was Matt. You met him earlier. He's like,
Yeah,
Really?
they're just running around.
it's everyone's. Anyways, that's this crazy thing about Nashville. So, anyways, that to say, we started bartending. Really enjoyed it.
I did the same thing.
Okay.
While I was in school, I tended bar to pay for school. I couldn't tell I didn't have the nerve to tell my parents.
Yeah, we just talked about this. You said
Yeah.
you worked at one
So-
of the
so I
local
get that.
restaurants
Yeah.
that we
And
used to
it's-
like to go to.
It's a good job. I enjoy it. I like being with people. I mean, Jay can tell you, I'm reasonably personable. I don't hate
Absolutely.
people. And but at the end of the day, what I realized I want to write.
Yeah.
But more than that, I want to tell stories because stories are more powerful. There's a reason Jesus told parables is because they work.
Right.
And so I started writing a story. And at first, everyone's thinking I'm going to write a Christian story because I'm a Christian. But it turns out most Christian novels suck. And
Turns out.
yeah, sorry about that. They're kind of like Christian movies, which
Right.
also pretty much all suck.
Right.
Sorry, but and also I realized I didn't really need to tell a story to more Christians. I want to tell a story to a larger audience, and so I just started writing this novel. It got bigger and bigger, and now it's I'm in my fourth draft, so I'm just about done with it. It's gonna be about 450, 500 pages. So I'm kind of
You
near
got
the
a
end.
publisher?
No, in
Looking for
the
a publisher.
fiction world, you don't start looking for a publisher until your book is done.
Okay.
Nonfiction. So with my first book, I wrote the first 3 chapters, sent a
Yep.
proposal, got a contract. This one, I have to wait till I'm done to even start looking for an agent. It's just the way the industry works because they want to know you can actually finish the thing.
Makes sense.
Well,
And, go
I
ahead.
was just going to say, as someone who grew up in the South, and when I talked to Josh, him being a pastor, and he's bartending, I thought, well, gosh, there's hope for me, man. You know?
Let me tell you what, man. That industry, one of the reasons that I sort of left college, and man, we have traveled so far off the beaten path on this
It
podcast.
happens. That's what podcasts do, as near as
Yeah.
I can tell.
It's a basket full of snakes, and I looked
Yeah.
around and I went, I don't want to be a part of this.
Right.
This isn't.
Yeah.
You're not treating people right. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not going to be a part of that. And
Yeah.
I just refused to do it and just said, look, I got student loans to pay back. I'll find another way to do that. And just kind of never, because you don't have to have that brand above your, on your logo to do the right thing.
Yeah.
Right. And so, yeah. So I feel you there, man.
Yeah.
It's, so the publishing, that's an interesting, there's so much like self-publishing that
Yeah.
goes on now
Mhm.
and Amazon, and they want, like, you have to sell your soul to them essentially.
Yeah.
You get nothing
Pretty much.
for it, but
Well, and see, self-publishing is something that can work for a lot of people, but you're not going to have nearly the.
it's a gamble.
It's a gamble, and you have because there's literally like millions of them being published a year. You don't have the doorkeepers making sure the quality's there,
Right.
and that to me, the quality level I'm shooting for is like New York Times bestselling.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean I'm going to be able to sell that many, but when I read comps, when I read comparable books, I'm comparing myself to
Sure.
these high-end books and saying, does my stuff stack up?
Well,
You know,
and you
that's-
get into a little bit of the kind of Netflix or Amazon where there's so much. When we were kids growing up, there was like 5 TV channels,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Now
yeah.
there's just.
I was the remote control, by the way.
and,
Yeah, yeah.
And now you've
You?
got.
Yeah,
and
you
some
remember?
of
We
it,
didn't really
you're
have
like,
TV.
This is,
But we
okay,
had
yeah.
some antennas that we there's only one station we got where we live, so there was
and
no
you
need
had no
for
choice. Like, if you wanted to watch TV, you just
Yeah.
watched what was on.
That's where the Reynolds wrap would come out, man, and you
That's
put it
right.
on the antenna.
Yeah.
and-
Yeah.
But now it's like 80% of it's just crap. It's
Yeah.
just,
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
sure.
It's very true.
So,
Well, that's awesome, man.
yeah. Well,
Thanks for sitting down and talking.
Hey,
Absolutely.
let us know or let Jay know. It'll be easier to let Jay know.
Yeah,
we'll
When
get
your
the
book
link
gets
up.
published.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You better believe
Yeah.
you guys will hear about it. So
Yeah.
We'll
it's
get the
exciting.
other link up there for you
Yeah,
too.
I'll grab you some information
So,
offline. So
appreciate it. Josh has been serving us these great beers today.
Yep.
So thank you so much.
cheers
for
to
that.
you.
Thanks for your time.
Thanks,
and,
Thank you guys.
Yeah.
Good to have you in here.
Yeah, we'll catch up with you a little later.
Sounds good.
Thanks so much. All right, so here you go, man. We got a great group of people in here
Yeah.
today, man. I tell you, this is so much fun.
So I gotta say,
yeah,
having visited a lot of, I like to eat, like to go places.
Yep.
Like to have a cocktail, whatever.
yeah,
Nice glass of beer.
right.
This is a really special group of employees working here.
Yeah, and I can say that, that's something I had a conversation with Joe just about that the other day. The one thing that's unique that you don't find very much in this industry is they don't have any turnover. And they have most of the people that are in this bar today have been here since the first day I ever walked in. And that's a testament to what they're doing, who is running it, who is managing it, and so things are working. They've got a good thing going on here, and that's, like I said, and Joe doesn't like me hear me say this, but it's my favorite place, Joe. So there you go. I love it. That's why we're here, and we really appreciate. He's not listening, but that's okay. I'll tell him again later. I'll just kiss him and hug him.
So,
And,
yeah, there you go.
So.
Okay, so
We do have some special guests. We got more special guests, and this is.
How are you doing this
I'm
afternoon,
doing,
buddy?
Mr. Walsh.
Good to come and see you both.
likewise,
I wanted
thank you for coming.
Just to stop in and give you an invitation for the future. I know that you guys have been heavily into this, and I just wanted to say I have a new car. Yeah, brand new car. It's the first time I bought one in many years.
Oh, we got to get this. You're just asking for video.
Oh, I know it. And here's the thing. It's not a car in the traditional sense.
No.
No. I started with a 1930. Now, that's the first half of the last century.
Mhm.
I started with a 1930 Ford pickup, which had been ruined by my Uncle Ken because he put a 1954 Ford pickup bed on it, thereby ruining the lines. But that car, gentlemen, represented one thing to me: freedom.
Right on. There you go.
Freedom. And I'm not saying we lived in the country, and I'm not saying, and I don't know what the statute of limitations on this is, but I'm not saying I was always legal. I might have been 15 and something.
Oh, I think you're
started driving
safe
that.
now. Yeah.
You think maybe we passed the statute of
I think
limitations
so.
on that?
I
I
can
think so.
join you in some of those
Early reminiscence.
possible law breaking adventures. I might have even been involved in some accidents that you had to clean up before the police got there and that kind of stuff.
By the way, did you meet Dick?
Just like 3 minutes ago.
Right on.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I
So-
don't know how the rest of your day is going to go, but this was a
Right.
winner so far.
Yeah.
Well, I know how it's going to go.
So are you going to tell us what this
So-
new car is that you just got, or is
Well, I'm
that-
teasing it.
okay?
I mean,
That's
work
good.
With,
That's
work
good.
with
That's
me
good
on this.
radio.
We're on television
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
So
We're on several.
So here's the situation. I went to buy a new car, and they wanted to sell me spaceships.
Yeah.
I go
Welcome,
in this
welcome.
thing, and we got satellite communications.
Yeah.
We're talking with God back in Washington, D.C., direct on the SOS network. And it is now they've been working on me saying the name because I always said Hyundai. It is a Hoon, like in honey. Hyundai. I have a Hyundai.
Okay.
And I would be happy to share that with your viewers. I don't
Yeah.
recommend it
Why not?
because I had a beautiful, very fast S500 Mercedes-Benz, and I thought it had to have been the greatest thing. But it wasn't. It was a piece of caca.
You're driving American now.
Oh, you're getting a little clever. I don't know.
I believe it's Montgomery, Alabama.
It depends on what model it is.
What we're doing here is we're parsing words,
Yeah.
and we can't do that. Now, guys, I don't have a lot of time this morning. I have things back happening at the casa.
You got to get the spaceship fired up.
No, I got to get the house painted.
Dick is my go-to
Person.
person when it comes to
Yeah.
to boating and those. He has
Yeah.
a nice. What's the length of the Ella Marie?
42 feet.
42 footer.
And it's a proper boat. It's not a plastic boat.
Nope. It is a wooden boat. It is a beautiful piece of art, and it is powered by.
Well, more importantly, who designed it?
Okay.
The quintessential designer of wooden boats in the Pacific Northwest, Ed Monk Sr.
Okay.
There you go.
I've heard
He
the name.
is a
yeah.
legend. Yeah, he's a legend. It was his final design. It's the Coho Tri-Cabin 14-foot beam boat. And you don't find those every day. You know, I've actually given Jay a ride on it and allowed him to man the helm.
I've actually. Yeah.
Did he slobber on the?
No, but he says, "Can I do donuts with this thing?"
But he wouldn't let me, man.
I said, "Jay, dude, we're in a 50-foot channel here.
Mhm.
I'm happy just to keep the bottom unsanded."
Yeah.
Yeah, this is true. That
Okay.
is a very shallow channel, by the way.
So I noticed that.
But what is it powered by? N14 Cummins, correct?
No, it's powered by a 903 naturally aspirated
Oh, the
Cummins
V-
diesel
Yeah, V903.
that tips the Toledos at 300 horsepower.
Now the diesel that you get at the marinas, I'm assuming you pull into a marina and fuel up, right?
I can't talk about that.
Is it treated with anything? Like they're starting to treat them, with the
Well, you know,
death-
in Europe for years, they have treated diesel with different colors.
right.
And woe be it to the mariner who had pink diesel. They were close to being a communist, if not an agrarian reformer.
So
well, boys, I gotta leave you now because I see my wife is getting into her. Oh God, I'm embarrassed mode.
Dick,
we're
thank you so much.
thank
for your
you for
time.
coming by.
I was going to call you up anyway, but you made yourself
Good to
in,
meet
and
you.
that's fine. That's
now
perfect.
we're
All right.
Good
we're,
to see
we're
you,
gonna
my friend.
we're gonna have some video of this Hyundai.
Yeah, he is going to allow me to test drive it, and I'm going to do a review on it.
Not on the not
Work the pronunciation.
okay.
Okay.
Okay, now
Have a
here's
great-
we want you in on the question that we're going to ask a little later about the Hyundai emblem and what it means.
Yep. I won't be here.
Okay.
It's a long drive over here, and it's getting towards sunset. I'm not young anymore.
Okay.
I've got to get back. But it was nice to be with you.
Thank you, Dick. Take care. Appreciate it. So there you go. There's
Yeah.
a local mariner that came in and joined us, and
Well, we're practically on the water here.
yeah.
So, yeah.
So it was a long journey home, and but yeah, that was neat to have him come in. Yeah, they just bought a what is it? What is it, Dick? A Hyundai Santa Fe, yeah. Really nice ride, and I'm going to get in that thing and I'm going to do a review on it because it is a beautiful vehicle.
I thought you were about to say I'm going to get in and do some donuts.
Neat color too. So and the rest of the gang is leaving.
So okay, well, and we're probably getting. What are you? Oh, okay. Josh is over here shaking something over his head, and
It's hard whipped cream used for
Okay.
Irish coffees and things like that. Just regular whipped cream.
Yeah.
Cream. Shake it till it's thicker, but not quite whipping cream.
So folks, the hours that we're in right now here in this part of the country, it's getting into the we're in a lull of action with people. That's cool.
yeah, it's 1:20.
It's 2:20 our time.
2:20.
Yeah. So people have
Pacific
eaten, people
time.
have come, they've had a few beers and they've left, and we'll probably get another crowd in here a little bit, but we're not going to be on much longer.
So
We'll
let's
see
just one thing we have not done is we did it early and then we've been kind of podcasting here for a little while. And then I'll buy you a couple minutes here to think about if there's anything else we want to cover before we wrap it up. But where to find us. So you can the easiest thing to do is to go to our website at
partscounterguru.com.
okay. And we've got links there to all of our podcast feeds.
Mhm.
So whether it's Apple or Android, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, whatever your preferred podcast platform is, you can find links there.
Yeah.
Find us on YouTube. We would really appreciate the subscribe. Here I go again, man. At the roundabout, turn right.
Turn right.
We would appreciate your subscription on YouTube. That's going to help us reach our subscriber goal. That's going to help us do some unlock some things with Google.
It's true.
So please subscribe on YouTube. It's The Parts Counter Gurus on YouTube. We're on Facebook at facebook.com/Parts Counter Gurus.
Parts Counter Gurus, yes.
Here
And
I'm
then
standing here talking
on
about it.
Instagram, we're at The Parts Counter Gurus.
Parts Counter Gurus.
Yeah,
Facebook.
YouTube is The Parts Counter Gurus.
Yeah.
So
All right.
yeah, just go check it out. We need subscriptions, people. We need subscriptions. Look, and first of all, I want to explain to people too. This podcast was about celebrating our 25th podcast. That's why we're here, and then just enjoying the day and that we'll get back to our normal routine here in a few weeks. You've got to make it back out to Nashville. That'll take you what, a week or two?
5 days.
Well, you're
6 days?
gonna steady drive it?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Stopping at night to sleep and buy groceries.
Wow, man, I don't know if I would do that.
Well, trying to make it back before Independence Day.
You should stop in Vegas, man. Drop a few coins.
I've got a child with me. You suggesting illegal activities in
Kids are allowed in casinos in Vegas. You didn't know that?
next time?
You sure?
Next time. I disavow all knowledge of anything. Okay.
Well,
so
we could do a giveaway, but we're going to do this for online.
yeah, we'll do it. We'll just do it next time. We'll do another live one, and we'll do a subscriber giveaway. We hit a certain subscriber threshold.
We just didn't have a whole lot of people to give away today, so
Everybody's clearing out of here. It's in between lunch and dinner.
Lunch and dinner.
Do you say dinner or supper? I can't even make myself say
I
it.
say dinner. When I was back in South Carolina, I would say supper, but I'm beyond that now. So
Okay.
to all my friends and family back in South Carolina, no offense, but we have dinner. But they call dinner lunch. Lunch is dinner.
Well, I'm completely lost now.
Well, I'm just messing with you, man. I'm just saying that's just the way it is. If my stepmother's watching this right now, she'd be laughing because she knows lunch is dinner. They call it dinner. Supper is
yeah, this
dinner.
is my father-in-law talking.
Yeah,
Okay.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, it's just kind of one of those things. It's a Southern thing. So.
All right, let's do one more topic here, and then we'll
Okay.
close it
Let's
out,
talk
and
about
that'll
it.
give you time to think about your closing, special 25th episode, closing serenade, whatever it is you're gonna.
Do I have one of those?
You had something going here.
Oh yeah. Okay.
The Volkswagen ID Buzz camper van.
Yeah.
So we've talked about RVs. I've got an RV. The Cardinals game's on. I gotta go.
Ooh.
Sorry.
Ooh, they
Anyway,
have it on there too. Yeah, so that's great. So you want to show this
So
video
can you
up?
put it up on screen here?
I can. Yeah.
I mean-
let's do this. Let's go full
Just
screen.
you and I will watch it, and we'll talk about it.
All right. So here we go.
And I'm gonna kind of talk while this is playing, but
Yeah.
but basically, if you can't see this, and I don't think the people watching live are going to be able to see this, but this is a Volkswagen commercial for their electric bus, their new VW van, which looks a lot. It's a retro look like their old van, and we see a designer here. This guy's a car designer. And there's news clips being played of the Volkswagen scandal, and they're talking about how that whole emission scandal went and tarnished Volkswagen's name, and it's hanging over them like a dark cloud. And he's just sketching out pictures of the van here, and then at some point here, pretty quickly, he goes back and he looks at some of the old designs for the VW bus, right? Isn't that what it was called? And they had different years, and you would identify them by different window, how many windows it had. It was a 7 window or a 12 window or a 13 window.
That's right.
So then we get a shot of the front end here, and they start playing. What's the song?
Oh, it's Sound
Sound of Silence.
Sound of Silence.
Okay, it's an old 70s.
Yeah, isn't
tune.
it like what's the guy's name, man?
It's not David Crosby. It's
It's oh shoot.
Yeah.
man.
Anyway.
Simon and Garfunkel.
Yes.
There
Thank
you go. Sorry guys for not knowing our music trivia. But anyway.
And their moniker is "From the darkness comes the light" or something like that. In darkness, we found the light. There you go. And so it's all electric. It's their ID line is electric, I think.
Yeah.
And I could not be more excited to see what's going to happen.
Yeah, that's really cool, man.
They have always knocked it out of the park with those vans. The old ones still have a huge following.
It's a very it's a very well done commercial in regards to what they're promoting.
Right.
And, like you had mentioned in the beginning, the issues that they had with the emissions controls, how they kind of, tweaked it a little bit just to kind of pass.
Right.
And VW is kind of,
that's an understatement.
yeah, well, they've kind of owned it, and they've moved past that, and they've been fined hugely. Actually, Porsche was, remember I was telling you about that? Porsche was fined tremendously.
Which Volkswagen owns.
Yep, and
they
were
own
hit with
Audi.
an extremely hefty. Yep, they were hit with an extremely hefty fine. But they'll get through it and they'll come back, and it's always a lot of fun. So
well, and sort of the logic is we're just going to go electric, and then there's no emissions to deal with.
So I should know this, but there was the VW bus, but then there was the Vanagon.
Yeah.
So there was two.
Yeah. So that was like an '80s model, and it had the square top on it.
Yes.
And it was
didn't have like a
raised up and a rectangular. Here, I'll do it on your camera. And then this became a camper sleeping area. It was canvas.
Yeah.
And it had a huge following, and they're still in service. And everything in it is, it's got most of the same amenities that a brand new small class CRV, like a van, would have.
Yeah.
Or those are class Bs, I think.
No, they're class Bs, not Cs. Cs are much larger.
Right. And I call them stealth because if you do it right, you can't even tell there's anybody. You can't tell it's an RV.
Right.
You can't tell they're sleeping in it.
Right.
But they have a sink, they have a stove, they have a little fridge, they have a restroom in them, they have a little mini shower. You can take a full shower in it.
Yeah.
They've got sleeping. It all converts and folds.
I'm going to tell you, in my opinion, man, I think that VW is going to hit it out of the park with this EV. I like it.
Well, I might be mistaken here. Now, we've talked about Rivian and the truck that was a prototype for their camper truck. If I'm not mistaken, this will be the first EV RV.
Yes, you're absolutely correct. Because, see, Rivian has not set out to be an RV. They've set out to be an SUV and a pickup truck.
Right.
But they have adapted to the needs or they're adapting to the needs of those. They're attracting those customers of pickup trucks that can utilize it as a camping vehicle.
Right.
And with everything that came on it, that between cab and bed pull out with a full kitchen.
Yep.
And then you have the mounted tent that was on the bed of the truck, the raised tent, which is pretty cool. So. Yeah, it's they're not an RV, but they are adaptable to that. So there you go.
If they put it into production,
that's it.
Right,
and I hope they do.
Yeah,
because I think it'll be a winner. I think it'll be a good winner. So, but anyway, so yeah.
All right, episode 25 coming to an end. You got anything
in the books, man? In the books, and I'm very thankful to Joe and their gang and Mike and Kendra and Josh for getting on camera for us today and treating us right and serving us our beverages. And I recommend anybody coming to this town come check them out.
Thanks to our wives for helping us do this, Aaron and Mary.
Yeah.
I don't know if they wanted to be named or not, but they are now.
They are now. And then your young guru.
Yep.
Your young guru is quite the cameraman, so that's it's been fun. I don't know.
You got anything else?
I really don't, man.
Okay.
This has been fun.
Take us out, Jay.
Yeah. So hey, remember everybody. We've told you in the past you have to keep air in the spare. But now my mother-in-law has gotten out of the trunk.
What are we going to do about this? Future episode, right?
Yeah, future episode. Just stay tuned, guys.
Thanks for watching, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
We'll see you next time.
Peace out. Later.